Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
You know what helps you on a rough day? I don't know what the score is right now, but
Cavs winning.
Cavs winning.
Again.
14 of their last 15 games they've won. They've won 5 in a row again. Where do we stand right now? It looks like 60.
We're up 4.
Up 4. 68-64. Of course, the Wizards giving them a bit of a game. Cavs on the road. Look, I know the Wizards have 9. We talked about this last week. They were facing off against Detroit, who only had 6 wins, but they had won 2 of 3. We're getting into that time of year where the teams that haven't won a lot don't really care and
playing loose.
They're just playing basketball. And look, the trade deadline's tomorrow. Some of those guys probably want to go play for contenders. If Washington's going to sell some players, these guys want to put on a show for the rest of the league. Like, hey, I can come help you. You're trying to get the 2 seat instead of being at the 4 seat. I can come help you. Like, this is what I'm going to put on film. Why weren't you doing that earlier in the year? Because, you know, these guys just get set in their ways and they think they're playing in a bad situation, so they don't show out. That's kind of a me guy that I'm not necessarily fond of, but I get it. The trade deadline's tomorrow. These guys want to make a statement. Cavs need to beat these teams that they should beat. It's not always going to be easy. And it doesn't mean you can go back after one game where it looks rough. And I saw this after the Detroit game. You're going to see it throughout the year because there's always fans like this. Oh, well, Darius Garland should be traded because he's not doing what this team was doing when they were winning without him. Or J.B. Bickerstaff, I still don't believe that he's a good coach. Or Evan Mobley, we should just play with Jared Allen and not Evan Mobley. Like, all these stupid, ridiculous things. Look, they're 2 former All-Stars that you got to add to your team. Do you think, Jay, that this team really needs to do anything with limited assets, by the way? I want to make sure I put that out there. Very, very limited assets.
They don't need to do anything. If they do anything, it'll probably be a small little move, maybe a rotational guy. Maybe he's probably a backup to our backup, kind of like, in case this happens kind of guy.
Because they're already going 10 deep.
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't see them having any needs. And like Matt Fontana was saying, he'd like to see Lamar Stevens brought in. And I simply asked him, like, why? It's not because he's bad. I like the guy, too. He has a good game, but I just don't need him. We moved on from him so that we can upgrade to these guys. And they're doing fine. I don't need to go back to that guy. They're doing just fine, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing when they came here. And things are starting to fall into place, and we're starting to get a rhythm with this team and figuring out rotations. And like Brian Windhorst, I heard say, they are just obliterating people. They're just demolishing them. I don't hear him usually say stuff like that. So when he's saying stuff like that, it kind of catches my eye. Like, they are playing hell of basketball. Why? You don't need to change anything. Just like we just told him. Just get better. Keep improving. You still have stuff to work on. There's always stuff to work on. You don't need to bring anybody in. The chemistry is fine.
Well, and a guy like Brian Windhorst, now he's more connected here because he's from this area. Mm-hmm. So he's always going to be reached out to and talked to from people here in this area. Him now being on the national NBA coverage that he is, a senior NBA writer and an insider that they go to a lot for a lot of news. Behind Adrian Wojnarowski at ESPN is Brian Windhorst. Like, that's where he has built his career. From the Akron Beacon Journal.
That's in my way up there. Like, if it was a liquor, that's like top shelf guest for me. One gets right there. Like,
yes.
If I ever could pull that off,
and at this time of night, it's tough to get him. We'd have to record something with him because he's probably out at some game or
he's always working
in his office with a bunch of games going on and his phone going off with all these rumors about or reports coming in about possible trades that might happen by tomorrow. Not a lot is happening. I know there's a lot of like scuttlebutt, and Charles Barkley thinks that this could be one of the most active trade deadlines
Peter,
ever.
You didn't go to Kent State, did you?
No, I did not. I went to Akron.
Oh, that's not going to work for us.
That's the exact opposite of what we needed right there.
What'd you say? You went to Kent State, right?
No.
You went to Kent State. If he's coming on. You went to Kent State.
He's trying to convince you. And in that rivalry,
I used to drink a lot at Kent State.
I didn't say you went to school there, did I? I just said you went to Kent State, right?
Sure, I
He's been to Kent State, yes.
We ain't lying. We're just bending the truth.
Bending the truth, yes. We're bending the truth.
I went to Kent State, too. I think Kevin went there once, right?
I think so.
Sure.
Yeah. I saw a football game there.
Nice. You went to Kent
I
State.
took in the wagon wheel game. I took
All
in
three of us
Akron.
went to Kent State.
I'm sure Kent won, too, because Akron is usually
that
not
year.
winning. Yeah.
That year, Kent won.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good that year, too. So
No.
Akron had no chance.
But back what we're saying with the Cavs and whatnot, because I'll try to keep us on track.
Like you said, I don't think that they need to do anything. The buyout market is where a lot of people are saying,
Mm-hmm.
with open roster spots, if they really want to add something to have that extra depth just in case, that's where I could see it. Now, a guy like Lamar Stevens, that's not going to move the needle. It might move the needle the other way, kind of like what you're saying. Like we don't need him, but we also don't really want Lamar Stevens. He was one of those guys that when you shoot it, you pass it to him in the corner, he's wide open for a three. Defenses aren't going to go out there and defend him, and he still wasn't knocking them down. And now with this team shooting as many threes as they do and knocking down as many as they do, living and dying by the three in a way, which I'm struggling with, but that'll be a conversation.
I'm old school basketball. It's hard for me to still adjust that too. I was taught the closer you get to the basket, the higher percentage shot you get, and that's the goal of the game.
Right.
Now it's the opposite, and they shoot.
The game has changed, and I'm like I continue to evolve with it. Like I want my team to match what the era of basketball is. It's just like the living and dying by the three. I'd like a little bit more balance. You know what I found funny, guys? Wasn't it like a couple weeks ago?
You said something. I was waiting for it. I noticed it too. They don't start like
all
that.
right, I can't do it because
like we said,
I don't want to tout what I said.
Just do it. Just do it. You just take what is that called when you get to like
I don't
take
want
your
to.
flowers.
Like I don't like doing that. I just find it funny that like we don't really try to say things thinking that we're right. Like we're just giving our opinions, and if people feel other ways, like it's totally fine. It's just weird that something that Brian Windhorst even pointed out.
Yeah, I heard it.
It's not. They're not bringing Garland and Mobley off the bench as like a whole second unit, but after the game starts, they're staggering a guard and a big man. They're
playing 3-point shooters.
Yes,
the guard and a center. And that is working, and they're just killing people because guess what? When the second team comes in and it's your second team, it's still like our first team, and it's working. We're not worthy.
Don't.
Not worthy.
We're not doing the Wayne's World thing over here.
I love Wayne's World. I
love Wayne's World too. But
no, it was a good call, and I agreed with you. Like it's working. You do what works, man. Don't put egos aside, and they are. That's great.
And this team is going to have to continue to do that. There's going to be a stretch where they lose some games, like 3 or 4.
Lose a game?
Can't win all 82. Like even the even the Warriors at 2016 didn't win every game in the regular season. They lost 9. They won 73.
And then they lost some real important ones later on. But
that's why you can't consider them one of the best teams of all time because yes, they beat the Bulls record, but guess what the Bulls did? They won a championship that year. Who didn't win a championship? Oh yeah, that's right, the Warriors. But
we
came back from a 3-1 deficit.
Championship team, one of the greatest of all time. So
yes,
because they beat one of the greatest regular teams.
I didn't like that there was like conversation recently, kind of like trying to downplay that. Like it's only.
No, I heard how he described it. It was more put into content. He's basically saying what helped make our championship like super like awesome.
The other teams suck.
Yeah, it was not. It was the accumulation of just not winning anything in that year after year and decade after decade of all 3 teams not doing anything. The first team to do it was going to have a stellar thing, but it was then the perfect storm with what they were also doing. And it was both things coming together that made it that ultimate championship that we're always going to love. So he wasn't really wrong. I just don't think he was emphasizing how insane it was to beat that 73 team or 73 win team and to come back down 3 games to 1. And
like take the other 2 teams out of it. Like that is part of it, and he's not wrong in that sense, but I think he's putting more weight on that than especially that we would see it here in Cleveland because you take those other 2 teams out of it, look at the entire situation. Warriors were 73-9. We're running through everybody in the playoffs.
You also have to add in the fact that LeBron is from here, left, came back.
That's where I was going to get to.
There's like, it's all these different. It was a perfect storm, is what he was trying to say, but he was emphasizing too much on the losing.
When you look at the history books in the NBA Finals, there's still only one team that's come back from a 3-1 deficit. And what you can't ever take away from the Cavs is we were the first. Whenever another team does it, they're just next. So there's not just one team on the list, so it diminishes a little bit.
Comparing us to us at this point.
It's still going to be the Cavs did it first. That team did it first. And it's just, I can see it for a much bigger weight on that championship from just a pure basketball standpoint. Maybe that's just me, and maybe that's somewhat biased because we're from here. But, like, I didn't necessarily like that. In terms of this team is playing the team basketball that we've kind of always wanted, and they're finally doing, I think we're seeing the new version of offense that J.B. Bickerstaff told us about to start the year. Look, there's going to be a stretch of games where they may lose 3 or 4. Some guys might, not shoot as well. If you're living and dying by the 3, there's going to be nights where you're truly dying by the 3, and you might get run out of a gym. It happens. It's an 82-game season. One game doesn't change what they're doing right now. If this is the team more consistently down the stretch and after the All-Star break, if we continue to see these good habits, this is going to be a team to be reckoned with in the Eastern Conference, which is kind of wide open right now. Outside of the Celtics, Bucks don't look like otherworldly.
They have no defense at all.
Unfortunately, the 76ers, and you wish the best for Joel Embiid, but he's going to be out for a little while. And
they're going to fall off.
Those knee injuries.
The Knicks, man, they are not going away.
They're not going to go away.
I check the scoreboard for NBA every morning to see who in the Eastern Conference loses. I'm like, all right, Cavs won last night, and so did the Knicks. They just won't.
And hey,
I don't know. I just hate the Knicks now, man. After last year,
I more so hate.
Do you not want to play them again? Like, I want to avenge that loss last year and beat them.
If we
I
end up
can't
playing
handle
them,
New York having that over me, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean that would be the perfect way to kind of rewrite the story, because everything right now is still like, yeah, they're playing well, but
and then go to New York and have my man
Spike Lee,
Jared Allen ball out and be like, you know what? Saw the lights last year. This is a different year.
He got to a certain level in his career.
I'm calling it, man. You knew it. I told you last year he's going to be back, and he's going to be better than ever.